Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am going to be talking about a brief review of the language goals that I set at the beginning of the year and kind of talk about how things are going, and then finally talk about kind of the next 3 months and what I have planned language-wise. I consider everything that I did in the past 3 months to be kind of a personal win, but I definitely did not do all of the goals in the way that I originally set out to do them, but that's kind of how it always happens. And I really honestly, I'm happy when I meet goals in the way that I intend to set them, but 99% of the time things get out of whack. And the first thing I want to talk about in relation to that is Korean. So I did get the Hangul Master Book, and I actually really enjoyed this. A lot of people in the comment section were giving a lot of really interesting opinions of the Talk to Me in Korean kind of method of learning Korean and their opinions on it, and honestly, it was all very helpful. I decided to still go with this book, and I don't regret it. It had some humor in it, it was very interesting, and ultimately, after learning some Hanzi and learning all of the Japanese writing systems into the level that I have, learning to read Hangul was almost like frustratingly easy. Like, I understood it, and then I was upset with how fast I understood it. And it just speaks to the level of sophistication that this writing system in particular has. Even just like looking at it compared to like Roman alphabet and things like that. So I am a huge fan of the Korean language. That said, I did give up on Korean by the end of January. And I don't mean give up in the sense that I'm not going to learn Korean. I'm still going to learn it. It's still going to be a thing that I do. I have not thrown out my textbooks, and I don't feel defeated, but my whole plan was that I was going to learn Korean so that I could travel to Korea, and a lot of unexpected changes happened with my travel plans, and I'm not actually going to be going to Korea this year, which makes me very sad, because I wanted to go visit one of my good friends, and I will definitely go visit them, but it's just not going to be at the time or the place that originally was planned. So basically, I just kind of moved Korean off of my plate entirely going into February, just because I was so busy with other things and figured that the point that I had behind picking it up now was no longer relevant. I'm going to be traveling to a different place instead, and I'll bring that up kind of in my next 3-month goal setting. But Korean is essentially defunct in my world, probably until next year. It's definitely a never say never situation, and it's going to be something that I want to learn. At this point, I've got some like really basic grammar down, and I can read, but reading is very easy and does not take people a long time, so I don't really consider that much of an accomplishment. It's kind of a meme where it's like, oh, I can read Korean, but I have no idea what is being said, and I am very much in that position right now. But if anything, it was a really nice like taste test of the language of like, oh, is this something that I'm interested in? Do I find this, like, is this fun? And the answer is yes. It just needs to be at a different time than right now. So I guess you could consider Korean as like a failed objective. So that's how Korean went. Next, I want to move on to Chinese. And if you can tell by how worn and tattered this textbook is getting, I easily hit the 5 times a week goal for Chinese. To be fair, Chinese is something that I am focusing on right now in academic study as well as out of personal interest. But Chinese is easily my main focus for language learning right now, and the language that I felt that I made significant progress in the last 3 months. I even had my prof say that she noticed that I was doing better in certain areas, and that was like a personal like yes for me. I was so happy. This textbook has actually grown on me. I think I said in a video a while ago that this isn't a textbook that I would recommend. And in the past couple of months, I have totally done a 180. I love this textbook, and I'm planning on, so this is number 2. I know there's a number 3, and I'm not sure if there's more beyond that, but I'm absolutely going to be using this textbook to self-study once I'm done my program, which will be in the summer. Just because it makes sense, it provides good example sentences, I like the way that it's laid out, and along with the workbook that I also have, provides a really good way of picking up new words. And I usually like things that are a little bit more like proficiency test based, because I like writing the proficiency tests, and so knowing exactly what is HSK2, HSK3, HSK4 is a little bit easier on my brain. But I have been sold on this textbook over the past couple of months. I definitely did 5 times a week. I'm not gonna say that I did it every single week. There were some weeks that I was just more tired than others, and then there was other weeks where I felt really motivated to study, and I just did a ton of catch up and note taking and everything like that. But all in all, Chinese goal absolutely cleared. It does definitely help that I am going to be studying in China for what I would consider not an insignificant period of time. And so definitely the motivation around that coming up, and kind of the excited nerves of actually having to be able to use this language and talk to people, and how embarrassed I will be if I can't talk to people, definitely has made this a more exciting journey. And even just things like the first textbook has pinyin over top of the Hanzi, and then going into this textbook, it's just Hanzi and tones, and only needing to write very specific pinyin for new characters that I'm like having trouble with, and like making little notes. That to me just kind of shows how much I've grown specifically in the past year with learning this language. And at January, I was kind of like, I could write HSK3, but I'm not sure if I would pass it. I scored pretty well on HSK2. At this point, I'm just looking for a time that's convenient to write HSK3. I am very confident in my ability to pass that exam, and so I'm hoping to maybe look a little bit further into the future, into maybe like a HSK4 level by the end of the year, tentatively type thing, depending on how it goes. But I definitely feel like I've grown in my level of Chinese significantly. And that's a, combination of academic factors, the trip coming up, personal interest, all of the things have just kind of aligned for Mandarin for me right now. And that just is exactly where we are. So Chinese, did I meet the goal? I'd say yes. I give this one a pass. Japanese, the reason I have this book here and not the textbook is because my Japanese learning, I would say that it's a pass. I don't think that I made any significant improvements in like the amount of grammar that I learned. I did learn, I did go through my grammar textbook, the try textbook I was using. I did get a little bit further in that, and I definitely did learn like quite a bit as far as new words and things like that. But where I really shined, I guess, as far as like personal study of Japanese is consuming media of different sorts. And that's kind of where I got a lot of my practice in. Whether or not you count that or consider that like a cop-out, it's up to you. But for me, with just how busy like other academic things have been for me, I consider that a win. The fact that I'm still making time out of my day to sit down and study this language and make sure that I'm not losing it, and that my ability at least stays where it is, makes me very happy. So this book series I've talked about on the channel before, and when I head to Japan quite soon, which is so exciting, I am going to definitely be picking up more of these. And also, if you are a Japanese speaker and you have some recommendations for like books, like not things that are like manga. At this point, I'm trying to push myself to read like only character-based books. I do like reading manga and it is very helpful, but I do find that I can kind of inference from the pictures a little bit too easy. It's harder to tell how good my reading ability is when I have that kind of visual aid. But it is very fun and I still enjoy doing it. But if you have some kind of, I'd say like middle school level Japanese reading material, especially if it's something that's kind of like something I could pick up at a bookstore or book off in Japan, let me know. So this book series, I did it for a couple. I'll show you, I have one right at the beginning that I definitely did. Where's this one? So this book series is here's a good example. I've basically been picking up short stories, so they're not very long. And when I come across things that I'm not quite sure of, if I have a highlighter on me, which is not all of the time, I will take a highlighter and then go and look up the words or look up the grammar point and then put it into an Anki flashcard deck for myself later. So that's been really helpful. I also have been doing NHK News Easy in between classes. That's not something quantifiable that I can really show you here. I really love that you can also look up, you can mouse over words, vocabulary or different terms, and it will give you a description of the word. It'll give it to you in Japanese. You can still translate if you want to, but learning from the Japanese description of the word has been an interesting way to learn for me. So I've definitely been doing that and reading those articles. Wanikani, I definitely would consider a fail. Wanikani has yet to join the ranks of like my daily routine again, even though I really want it to. It is kind of a more like 3 or 4 times a week type thing. And unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to pause it when I do my little study abroad stint, just because I really don't think that's something I'm going to have any time for. But I still do love Wanikani as a resource, and even if I'm not learning a bunch of new words and kanji with it, even just slowly like burning through the flashcards that I've had built up over the past year is still something that has kind of kept me on track and making sure that I'm not losing any progress. So overall, I would say my Japanese was probably more of like a dedicated twice a week than a 3 times a week, but personally I am still giving that a pass. So now kind of going into April, May, June, and what my new goals are and how I'm looking at that. I'd like to say that for April, I want to stick with kind of my current Chinese 5 times a week, Japanese 3 times a week, Wanikani every day. If I can get my butt in my chair and just make sure that I do it, I should just really do it with my morning coffee. Honestly, I have no excuse. April, I would like to kind of stick with a similar goal in mind. May and June is where things get messy because I will be studying abroad for most of that. And so that's going to be almost like a dead space for me. I'm going to be studying Chinese every single day, just through like necessity and also academically because I will be attending university. So Chinese will just automatically be an everyday type thing. And as much as I would love to sit here and tell you that I will pick up that Japanese textbook and sit down and diligently study it and make sure that I'm keeping my level up, I am not going to. I know myself too well. I know I'm going to be exhausted. I'm going to be so tired, and that is just going to need to all fall to the wayside. I'm going to pause Wanikani. I might bring some Japanese reading material with me just if I want like a break from the Chinese language. But even that I doubt will get read. So as far as like May is kind of a wash for Japanese, but is going to be extremely lucrative for Chinese. June is when I need to almost swap and go the other direction, because I'll need to be giving Chinese a break, and then I will need to be studying Japanese so that I can get ready to visit Japan. And it'll almost need to be like a panic study, because I will be so used to speaking Chinese by the time that I am back that I will need to kind of 180 and get more comfortable with Japanese again as fast as possible, so that I don't sound stupid when I try to talk to my Japanese friends when I'm back, because I definitely I don't think at this point I'll be able to like go there and have my friends be like, wow, your Japanese has improved so much since the last time I talked to you. But I don't want to be going backwards, to be blunt. I think my plan is to write N3 JLPT in December, since it's only twice a year. And I think that my real hardcore push, like academic wise with Japanese, is gonna come at the second part of the year, if I'm realistic with myself. Korean again is out of the picture, but I am going to be visiting Hong Kong, and I want to do some basic Cantonese. So my reading ability will absolutely get me by as far as like menus and signs and everything like that. I don't really have any issues with reading traditional. And so I'm assuming that that will be okay. I also know that lots of people had said that Hong Kong has a lot of English, but I don't want to be going there and speaking English. That's just not really my style when I'm traveling to non-English speaking countries. So as much as it is a little bit of a meme in kind of the language learning community, I am definitely going to be picking up Duolingo Cantonese over the next month. And even if all I learn is really basic survival tourism Cantonese phrases, even if I can get far enough in Cantonese to figure out if the person speaks Mandarin or Japanese and then switch from there, I would prefer to do that than to just walk up to somebody and expect that they speak Mandarin or English. It's also just kind of, you know, a nice personal challenge for me. And hey, maybe Cantonese will end up being something that I enjoy way more than I expect myself to. I do think that it's a really interesting, cool sounding language, and with kind of the writing system overlap with Mandarin, it definitely could be up my alley, but I'm not sure. I don't want to commit to it, and I definitely don't want to say that it's something that I'm going to learn long term. It's something that I'm going to learn situationally and then reassess from there. So all of that to say, those are kind of my goals. That's what I've been doing these past couple months language-wise. I had a lot of awesome feedback on my first video that was really unexpected. So thanks to everybody who watched and interacted with that video. Do it for this one also if you want to. But this is more of kind of like a weird social check-in. If I put it out on the internet, then I feel like I have to do it. And that's a lot of this channel. But also it's nice to have people to talk about language acquisition with. Those are kind of my goals. So I could say, you know, April will be the same, except maybe pick up Duolingo Cantonese. May will be very Chinese focused. And then June is going to be more of a throw Chinese to the wayside, except for maybe some like kind of aftermath maintenance. And then switch to learning Japanese probably 4 or 5 times a week. In there, I want to write HSK3. I hope that it happens. I hope it works out. HSK is a lot easier to write. The tests run way more often. It's way more accessible. So that's my hope. And then hopefully end of June, I will probably, my next video for Q3 will probably not come until mid-July, just because I will not have the ability to make it until around that time. so bear with me. But if you were one of the people in the comments who was also looking for language check-ins, please use the comment section to let me and everybody else know where you are at with learning your languages, and how January through March went for you and where you are going next. If you want another video of mine to watch, I made a video on kind of all of the different resources that I have used and would recommend for how to get to kind of my N3-ish level Japanese that I'm currently at. Everything from apps to games to websites to textbooks to like everything. And I'm very proud of that video. I wish that I had it when I was a beginner. So if you feel like watching a different video, I'd say check that one out. Otherwise, I hope that you enjoyed. Consider hitting a subscribe button since I am getting close to 1,000, which would be a big milestone for this channel. And if there's anything else you'd like to see from me, language learning or planner associated, let me know, and I will be looking for probably some more video ideas. So thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.